Hey, bear with me, guys. I'm driving to work. Give me 1 second. Anybody that tunes into this, you might not be able to see me. It's super early, Pacific Northwest. The sun has not come up yet. So just listen to what I'm saying. And it's important that I get this out there because I've had a lot of people over the last year, 2 years, who have kind of pressed me. And I made a video last night. We were talking about some Second Amendment issues. And somebody in the comments, they said something that really hit home. They were like, you know, I am all for the Second Amendment. I think it's important. I think being able to protect myself, protect my family, I think that is so important. I'm actually gonna turn this light off, guys. Hang on 1 second. So you're not gonna be able to see me, but I'm here, okay? The person was like, I am all for the Second Amendment. I am all for the Constitution, but I can't give up the right that my wife and my daughters have to their body autonomy and vote Republican. This person was basically saying that, like, they did not, agree with a lot of the policies that the right, if you want to say, is pushing. And I guess that what they're saying mostly is like abortion. And guys, I get it. I have 3 daughters. I have a wife that suffers from a condition that if she were to become pregnant, she would have to have an abortion. Otherwise, it could cost her life. So this is a conversation that, it's not something that I take lightly, all right? But here's the thing, guys. I'm 46 years old. My entire life, I voted Democrat. My entire life, I have considered myself a liberal. When I was in the military in 1998, I was on a mission with the United States Air Force, and it granted me the opportunity to have a meeting with President Clinton, me and 8 other people from my unit. We got to spend, like an hour with the president. I am from Arkansas. My dad actually worked on one of the Clinton campaigns in '92 when he first became president. My point in saying all of this, I have always considered myself a liberal, and I've always voted Democrat. But that's kind of what I have grown up being led to believe that I had to do, right? At the end of the day, like, I have come to the realization as I've gotten older, and this all came to a head when I moved to Portland, that the only thing that I can vote for are my own best interests. Like, I'm just going to be 100% honest. There's neither party out there that has taken a stance on addressing black issues or issues in the black community. The Democrats tend to use the black community as a social prop, talking about issues that don't concern the vast majority of our community. There's a lot of gaslighting, there's a lot of placating, and the ultimate goal is to get us to vote for other people's best interests. And I'm just no longer willing to do that. I don't have a problem with what other people want to do. I don't have a problem with how other people see things. I am taking emotion out of the equation. I'm taking any sort of drama out of the equation, and I am simply voting for my best interest. Illegal immigration is not in my best interest. Weak foreign policy is not in my best interest. Fiscal irresponsibility is not in my best interest. All this stuff that's going on with children, not in my best interest. Taking away my ability to defend myself and my family, not in my best interest. So if I take everything else out of the equation, if I take how people say things or how it makes people feel, if I take the drama of what Trump says or how Trump carries himself, if I take all of the non sequiturs out of the equation and I just look at what is in my best interest as a voter, voting Democrat does not work for me. It simply doesn't. I live in Portland, Oregon. And in Portland, it has been democratically controlled for over 40 years. And this place is an absolute dumpster fire. And when I say a dumpster fire, I mean that in a literal sense. On any given day, you can drive down multiple areas of Portland and see dumpsters on fire. You can see RVs on fire. You can see homes on fire due to the policies of the people that are in charge in this area. This idea of, zero accountability, give everybody everything, no one is responsible, everything is someone else's fault. I have lived here for 4 years. For 4 years. And I've seen everything from riots to robberies to overdoses. Guys, listen. I bought my first house when I was in the military at 22 years old. Okay? I had that house for close to 10 years until I got divorced, lost the house in the divorce. Right? Things happen. It took me 15 years to be able to work and get to a point where I could afford another home. I paid close to $500,000 to buy a home in Portland, and directly across the street from this home is a trap house. An open air drug market trap house. Guys, over the last 2 years that I've lived in this location, they have pulled at least 4 dead bodies that I know of out of this home. Because they are completely and freely able to do drugs to the point that anyone and everyone in this neighborhood can come into this house, can go into a room, can shoot up drugs. And I'm not exaggerating. They have pulled 4 bodies out of that house that I know of. Now, keep in mind that I work quite a bit, so it's possible that there have been more people that have died in this house. How am I supposed to support that? There is a very famous, I'm not going to say famous, but a very viral video of me losing my shit a year ago when the same house that I'm talking about, instead of having the drug addicts be in the home, he had them in the RVs outside of the home. And they had propane tanks that were chained together outside, like it was such a potential explosion waiting to happen, right? And only because this video went viral and I ended up on Fox News, that was the only reason why city leadership came out and did anything. Guys, it was crazy. There was a kid involved, all kinds of stuff. My point is that this is commonplace. This is commonplace in Portland, and you're seeing that this type of attitude is commonplace all across the country in left-leaning cities. And I'm not the kind of person, guys, I'm almost 50 years old. I've never been the kind of person who's like far right, far left, Democrat, Republican. Like, no, I've always taken the stance that, whatever you want to do in your life, however you want to lead your life is fine, that people should be accepting of different lifestyles. I've never been the kind of person to ever have an issue with how people live their life. But the problem with left-leaning policies is that you lean so far left that you fall over on your ass. And that's where we are in the vast majority of these areas. Portland specifically, California specifically, New York. I mean, I can go on and on and on. It's not good for the cities. It's not good for the country. Now, we can have a debate all day long about whether or not politicians like Trump go too far with their rhetoric, whether or not what they say, leads to people either having a negative viewpoint of things, or we can have that debate. But that is not the purpose and the point of our government. At the end of the day, what are you doing with my money? Where are you sending my tax dollars? How are you protecting this nation? How are you protecting me in the city? Guys, I live in a city where they've defunded the police. We're at a 30-year low in terms of police officers, and the same people who advocate to remove the police from the street are the exact same people that are right now continually advocating for drugs to be legal in this area. While they're doing that, they're fighting tooth and nail to remove a person's individual right to protect themselves via the Second Amendment. What do you want me to do with that? What do you want me to do with that? How are you, where are you leaving me any wiggle room? We're going to take the police off the street. We're going to make drugs legal. We're going to make it to where your neighbor across the street can either A, potentially blow your house up with drug RVs, and when we move those, we're going to be completely okay with the fact that we're pulling multiple bodies out of the house. What am I supposed to do with that? And that's just my little snapshot of what I deal with. I haven't even gotten into the issues with children. I haven't gotten into the issues of immigration. I haven't gotten into the issues of, national foreign policy. If I just shrink it down to literally, when I say this, I mean literally, what's outside my door, how can I continue to vote for that? And there's nowhere to turn, guys. We can't complain to our leadership here. Our leadership is lockstep in line with drug addicts, drug dealers, and criminals. I have never in my life considered myself a conservative. And if you would have asked me in 2016 if I would ever have thought that I would vote for Donald Trump, I would have laughed you out of the conversation. It just would have been unfathomable. I don't want to be in a situation where I don't vote. Not voting is voting for the other side. You have to vote. So I kind of went on a rant here. I tend to do that when I make these videos. But to that guy, and I'm sorry I don't remember who it was that made that comment, you're torn on wanting to vote in the best interest of your wife and your daughters. My advice to you, vote in the best interest of your family. Your wife, your daughters, if your daughters are of age, they have their vote. We have to stop using our vote for other people's best interest. That has been the downfall of the black community since the 60s. We've wanted inclusion, we've wanted integration, we've wanted acceptance. And so, my parents' generation, they took the stance that the easiest way for us to get acceptance, integration, and inclusion is to advocate for everyone else's best interest at the behest of our own. And I'm not doing that anymore. I don't care, man. I don't care what someone thinks about me. I don't care if someone likes me. I don't care if someone, doesn't like black people, someone has an issue. I don't care. What are you doing with my tax dollars? What are you doing with the money that you're taking from me? What are you doing with the country? What are you doing with my local police department? What are you doing in terms of how you're addressing the kids in the school, how you're teaching them, what you're allowing to happen? I'm taking all the smoke and mirrors and I'm moving them to the side, and I'm looking at your policies. I'm looking at your policies. I'm taking all of the feelings out of the conversation and I'm looking at your policies. I don't want Joe Biden coming over to the house eating chicken strips and talking basketball. I don't want Trump handed me a pair of gold-plated Air Jordans. What are your policies? That's what I'm voting on. And the policies that align with my best interest, my family's best interest, what I see as the nation's best interest in terms of strength and protection, that's the Republicans. I'm not ashamed to say it. And you're not going to shame me. You're not going to give me this speech about what Trump says or what Trump's done or the fact that he's being indicted. I don't care. You want my vote? Talk to me about policies. And right now, the people on the left, they have zero policies that align with anything that is important to me. And I'm not giving my vote to somebody else. We all get a vote. Use your vote however you see fit, whatever you think is best, whatever you think is in your best interest. I am voting in my best interest, and I urge every other person that's out there, but I want to say this specifically to my community. I urge you guys to take the rhetoric out of the equation and vote in your best interest. If the Democrats are telling you that the best thing that they have for our community is prison reform, that should be absolutely insulting. I am not a prisoner. If the best thing that they have is that they're going to lessen the charges for marijuana possession, I do not sell, distribute, or smoke marijuana. Okay? If the best that they have is there's going to be some intersectionality with some other group or purpose or issue, and whatever they're going to do for us has to be aligned with something else, I'm not with it. That's just me. Y'all do what you want to do. Y'all vote who you want to vote for. But I am not playing this game anymore. It is all about policy. So y'all can call me whatever you want to call me. Y'all can have whatever problem you want to have. But what I'm living in right now and what I'm seeing happening across the country is not okay with me. And the only thing that I can do, nobody cares. When I make these videos, nobody gives a shit. Nobody cares about my opinion. You know, they're not trying to hear it. But you're going to hear my vote. And I hope other people take the same stance, because that's the only way that things are going to change. All right? Well, there you go.